We have some breaking Patriots news to get to you as they have just made a shocking trade, sending Ja'Lynn Polk to the New Orleans Saints. We'll get you the latest trade details, what the Patriots got in return, and why this was such a shocking move for a guy who was on season-ending IR. We'll get you the latest right here on Patriots Digest. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Before we get going, this is exactly why you should subscribe. When breaking news happens, we get it out to you here first on YouTube. So if you are looking for daily Patriots content, breaking news, information, updates, rumors, you're in the right place. Go down there, hit that subscribe button, 100% free. Let's go to the official report here. Dianna Russini had it first saying trade. The Patriots are trading wide receiver Ja'Lynn Polk and a 2028 7th-round pick to the Saints for a 2027 6th-round pick, per sources. As I mentioned, Ja'Lynn Polk right now is on season-ending IR, recovering from a shoulder injury. And as much as I want to say it, this may not be the worst Patriots wide receiver draft pick. N'Keal Harry speaks out to me. A couple other draft picks, Tyquan Thornton in the second round. It's been a bad history of the Patriots drafting wide receivers, especially in the early rounds. Hopefully Kyle Williams, our third-round pick out of Washington State, can change that. But for Polk, coming out of Washington, there was a lot of excitement around him. Unfortunately, you kind of look back now at that draft, knowing the Patriots could have potentially gotten Ladd McConkey, who was doing very good things for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, again, different organizations, different that. There's a lot that could be done. But when you look at Polk's stats, it is pretty sad to see what a second-round pick got you. 15 games played, 12 receptions among 33 targets, 87 yards, a 7.3 average, and just 2 touchdowns in his 1 year he saw here in New England. So as we talk about it here, mention the trade. Before we get going on any sort of analysis or anything like that, I want you to let me know what you would grade this Ja'Lynn Polk trade as. An A, a B, a C, a D, or if you want to go even further, say this is an abysmal trade, I want you to put F down there in the comment section. Let me know. Grade the Ja'Lynn Polk trade A, B, C, D, or maybe even F as well. Personally, I'm going to go with a C. I don't like the trade. I don't hate the trade. He was on season-ending IR. He looked terrible. The Patriots wide receiver room gained a ton of different new hands this offseason, and it didn't really seem like he was going to fit. Plus, in a lot of ways, this is a new regime down here for the New England Patriots. The drafts have not gone well. I think in some ways it was just time to move on, and they got him to the Saints and kind of just let him go. It's kind of crazy that we traded a guy who was on IR, wasn't affecting a roster spot, literally was just being on IR. Like, that's truly shows you how little confidence the New England Patriots had in Ja'Lynn Polk and what his expectation was moving forward with the New England Patriots. And so I mentioned the new names on the wide receiver depth chart that came in this season, and it's a big reason why I believe Polk, if he's on IR, we don't have a specific signing, specific guys that we have achieved in this offseason that, will be here or not for a couple of years. Maybe the Patriots are more willing to keep him and, see what happens. But the additions this offseason of Stefon Diggs, Matt Collins, Kyle Williams, not to mention the UDFA and Efton Chisholm III making the 53-man roster, it was time to move on. It was time to move on. And, Kayshon Boutte looks like he can finally be that, first-round talent that we saw at LSU. And obviously the off-field stuff kind of got him to drop to us, which I'm not going to complain if he plays the right way, but Demario Douglas, I have hope for him, especially in that slot receiver, but I really didn't like his week 1 performance. I want to see more of Efton Chisholm, especially in, as we move forward. I think it's more important to develop some of the younger guys than, try and think about Demario Douglas in some aspect. I think it's good to develop him, but I want to see Efton Chisholm out there. I want to see Kyle Williams out there alongside Stefon Diggs. And Matt Collins, I have not much to say about him, just because if you're looking for a building block part of this team, I don't really think he's going to be a part of that equation. However, at the same time, we'll see what happens. But going to go to a report here of NBC Sports Boston, Darren Hartwell, who says, quote, Polk is currently on season-ending injury reserve due to a shoulder injury, which makes the timing of this trade surprising. The 2024 second-round pick was viewed as a potential cut candidate in the Patriots' crowded wide receiver room, but was placed on IR before cut-down day in late August, end quote. There was a time when 53-man roster cutdowns were going on where it seemed as though that Ja'Lynn Polk might actually end up being cut just a year after he was drafted, especially with the round he was drafted in. But He wasn't. They put him on IR. He was not taking up a roster spot, and you thought, okay, that's fine. We'll let him sit here for a year. It stinks because you thought maybe a second-year sophomore breakout would be on the horizon for Ja'Lynn Polk, and then you trade him. I think that speaks volumes to what the Patriots saw in this year's training camp, how they viewed him in terms of what they want the wide receiver room to look like, not just this year, but into next year, obviously, as he wouldn't be able to return until next season. But I just find it really, really surprising and shocking how this trade kind of transpired. I mean, even Ja'Lynn Polk, literally before he was placed on IR, had this to say before the season, saying, quote, "I don't even think about my last year. We've got a new team. The energy is great around here, so I'm here now. I'm stepping forward, keeping faith in Lord Jesus. He's been with me the whole entire way. I'm going to keep my faith strong and keep working," end quote. Now, some of that definitely was, personal stuff, obviously, but it seemed like he wanted to be here. That quote showed prowess. It showed the want, the drive to be better than what last season was. He was forgetting about it. And then the injury happened. He was placed on season-ending IR. And personally, I would love to see him in this wide receiver room. I think it would be a very good addition. I think it would be a good thing to have. And you didn't get that. You didn't. Especially after, Kendrick Bourne goes away. You had 8 receivers at one point. Now you only have 6. I would have liked to see the lucky number 7, to be honest with you. But instead, we went down from 8 right to 6. So I don't really know how that happens. But it really sucks for the way that the draft has gone about for the New England Patriots over the past 4 years now. You kind of saw a sliver of it, but this is not good. This is not a good draft strategy. This is not something you want to show really anybody. If you think about the last 4 NFL drafts, not including the most recent one, obviously, in 2025, so we're talking 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2021, the players that have been drafted by the New England Patriots, 38. 11 players right now are active on the 2025 NFL roster. That is abysmal. Go year by year here. Drake Maye and Caden Wallace are your only 2 that are on there currently right now. Past that, you have Ja'Lynn Polk, and then you have... what's that? Javon Baker? Yeah, not doing great there. Marcel Dial is on the season-ending IR as well, or on IR. Layden Robinson. And there's just... Joe Milton was traded. I think he'd be on the roster if he wasn't, so I can't say much about that. You had a great draft in 2023 in your top 3 picks in Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, and Marte Mapu. Guess what? Christian Gonzalez is out this week. Marte Mapu, he's questionable this week. Keon White, he's out this week. So that kind of sucks. Kayshon Boutte, Bryce Behringer, and Demario Douglas, 3 guys you can kind of channel a little bit into, but pretty much everybody else in that draft was not great at all, to be honest. And then going back to the 2022 draft, it's even worse. You have 1 player from the 2022 draft still on your team after drafting 10, that player being Marcus Jones. Even Jack Jones is gone. Bailey Zappi is a name you mentioned. Tyquan Thornton, the guy I mentioned earlier. And then, of course, Cole Strange. You go back to 2021, Mac Jones, Christian Barrymore, Rhamondre Stevenson is still there, but you want to go back even further in terms of the wide receiver and the history with the Patriots being very not good with drafting wide receivers. I mentioned in the early part of the show, N'Keal Harry. I mean, cut and dry, one of the worst draft picks the Patriots have had, and it continues with their Patriots draft pick prowess. I think at this point, the UDFAs have done better than really much anybody else. So we'll see. I think that at this point, it just shows that the Patriots were not wanting to have Ja'Lynn Polk on the roster. He was not going to fit their plan, and they ended up making the trade. So, once again, let me know your grade for the Ja'Lynn Polk trade down in the comment section, A, B, C, or D, or if you want to go F as well. That's all we got for you here today on the show. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time here on Patriots Digest. Peace out, guys.